What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and welcome to episode 192 of Expert Mentors Live. And man, I'm personally excited for today's episode and today's conversation. We've got Mr. Oscar Morales in with us, and my goodness, this is going to be fire. Oscar, how are you doing, brother?
All good, my friend. Everything good. Thank you for having me. And just over here, finishing up one of my 5-hour real estate classes, and helping others and just contributing to the world and to the real estate industry.
Yeah, and you have been contributing at a high level for a long time, and you got the TREI there in the background, and the Real Estate Institute, and I mean you're 20 years in with that. I mean that's a remarkable achievement, and so I'd love for you to maybe, kind of give a little context and a little background, little information about yourself so people can kind of understand, why I'm excited, for today's episode.
Well, yes, Jan, definitely I started, this is going to be my 21st year, actually. So we started to teach real estate, giving to others what I know. My dad is a vice admiral from the Navy, retired. He still teaches with us. He's 75 years old. It's a family-owned business. My sister runs also our structure on productions and all of that. And we get different kind of structures nowadays. But when we started, John, we just want to, make some money also on the real estate. But we said we can teach to others what I have learned. So then you are a student, because I always believe in coaching and having people teaching me what to do. But once you start to teach others, then you internalize, you understand what you're doing. And why not doing it in different languages? We knew English, right? So we understood English, but why not doing it in Spanish? And then we do it also in Portuguese. I was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. But opening the Real Estate Institute was the way to give back. So then it started with only 2 students, and then it grew up to the next class to 6, and then to 20, and we've been doing it for 20 years. I literally, John, started when I had hair, so I've been doing real estate hair by hair, okay? So you find in my Instagram the pictures, I had hair, and there was no Instagram, no internet, stuff like that, and now it's crazy, because now we go through Zoom. And actually, I just end up a class. I got people connected from Colombia, from Mexico, from Puerto Rico, and in 22 states here in the United States, all connected, 5 hours teaching the pre-licensing class to become a real estate broker in Florida. So, and now that's what we do. And obviously, we do appraisal, general contractor, mortgage, real estate, and we get instructors. They are president of some of the most recognized associations of realtors in the United States. So we are all leaders helping others to become leaders. That's basically what we do.
Yeah, I love it. And, definitely the collapse of time, that the pandemic kind of put on everybody to accelerate the technology allowed us to reach that global scale a lot faster. It was going to happen, and it was happening, but it just accelerated it to be able to reach all over the globe. And then obviously for us being plugged into, kind of, my opinion, and 83,000 others, plugged into the best business model for residential real estate out there. So let's dive in. I love our topic today. Strong teams and shifting markets. And it was just kind of before we went live, you'd even pointed up onto the whiteboard about, hey, it doesn't matter. A market is a market.
It's the market. We got only 2 kind of markets, right? You got a buyer market and a seller market. It had happened. You got high supply, low demand, or you got low demand and high supply. So either or, there is no wrong or right market. It's just the market. And you gotta know the data. You need to know the data. A great leader, John, sees the data, no better than it is, no worse than it is. It's just see the data. It gives you the numbers. You need to understand your numbers, number one. So you need to understand if in your area wherever you are in the country or worldwide, what kind of market are you in?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know the data, and you need to build with a strong team, especially in difficult times and when the market shifts, when the market change, you need to be alive. That's why after many years of teaching on learning about the real estate in the United States and then going global, right? So I said, I need to be with a strong team. That's why I also made the decision to join EXP when I saw great leaders leading the way with technology, right? On the stock market in the United States, one of the strongest economies ever. And we can discuss about these, but you need to be within leaders and know the data, that they are strong, and also you need to be coachable. So one thing is I give a lot of coaching in Espanol and Portuguese, but I also receive coaching all the time, meeting with the people. And so in my 30-hour post-licensing course, I have like an 18 topics that every team needs to have. One of the 18 topics that you need to have in any kind of market is have a coach, and you need to be accountable. You need to know your numbers, and you need to develop systems, methodology. So you follow over and over again. I've been teaching, listen, I've been teaching this, 500 pages for 20 years. This could be very boring, but you know what? It's profitable because you helped somebody. And this is a 500-page in English and a teaching in Spanish. Now listen to me. This is in English. There is a book in Spanish, but still I tell them you need to know the details, the key terms. So you need to be a professional. So no history has been written for somebody that is mediocre. It's been written, for people that being leaders, great leaders, people that accomplish stuff, that were disruptive. And I love EXP because it's so disruptive, and obviously our team and Honey Badgers and all the different teams that are collaborating because we are writing the history. Now, it's like, I love this one, John, and shareholder meeting, like, the real estate before EXP was the Old Testament. Now we are the New Testament.
I like that. That's a great way to put it. And it's interesting how you put that about. It's just a great reminder. How history is written, and it's legacy is definitely at the forefront of my mind and has been for the last 4 or 5 plus years. Just really kind of thinking about that, and so there was a good book. Peter Diamandis and Stephen Kotler, I believe, The Future is Faster Than You Think. And what's crazy about that book is it was written pre-pandemic. It came out at the end of 19. And so they were talking about the advancements in technology, and they were talking about that. They talked about one real estate company in that book, and they talked about 40 or 50 different industries that they touched on. And they talked about real estate, and they talked about one company, and they talked about the future, right? And they talked about EXP. That was the only company they talked about in there, and why how things are advancing and how history is being written. And it's just cool to be a part of that, and you're a part of that history as well. So it's fantastic. Let's jump into a couple of these key points that every team needs to be really, really focused on. Let's run through as many of them as we can, during our conversation today, and
Sure.
and really, give these honey badgers some things that they need to be able to chew on and make sure that they have it in their business. If not, they need to implement it. But if they do have it, how can they reinforce it?
Yeah, definitely. One of the key points over here is that people need to understand what you need to do to build a strong team, and you need to be accountable. What I usually I talk about these 18 points, and I'd be more than happy to share these with any of the team leaders or anybody that contact you in the future. Number one is the challenge of change. I'm going to be very fast, but you got to choose at least 3 of these points to work in this quarter. I always recommend big leaders. that there's 18 points to build a strong team, that you take 3 at a time. You work with one 1 month, another one second month, another one the third month. So at least you achieve 3 of these points. Maybe you are strong in one of those and you are weak in some others. So you find the help, you find the coaching to do that. So number one is the challenge of change. The market change every single day, every single time, and you gotta know your core services. You need to know, obviously, your market, the MLS, and what you need to do. Number two, leadership. We need leaders inside of organization. Great thing about EXP and so many other organizations also, but EXP, it's focused on building leaders like we're doing right now. So you gotta take the ego out of the way. You know, the word ego, if you take the E out of the word, just say go. So just go, help others, and you need to have empathy. So management skills. Management skills is very crucial. It doesn't mean that the leader needs to manage everything, micromanagement. You got to delegate. And this is one of the problems nowadays in organizations and teams. You get several people that are different age. So you got the millennial, the generation X, the generation Y. You got a baby boomer sometimes inside a team. So you need to have skills to manage all of that and do not procrastinate. It's very important to be fast. John, communications and decision. It's very important to take decisions fast and to communicate them and have a channel to communicate with your team. This is what happens in Florida, John. Sometimes some hurricane comes to Florida. So we need to inform in the property management side, what is the channel that we're going to communicate? It's going to be through Twitters, to text. Some presidents of the United States have used Twitter before. Some people use Instagram, some people use Facebook. So what is the channel that you're going to communicate your decisions inside your team and to your clients? You need to analyze the business environment. What does it mean? Demographics. John, it's not the same thing selling in Miami than selling in Iowa or Oklahoma or New York City. You need to analyze and know the data from your association, from the council, the business council that you got in your area. And once you analyze, you need to know the market. What does it mean? Well, how do you represent the people, how people are represented, and how these organizations, like the new developers, they are giving back to your clients. So you as a team, you need to have also partners outside your team, which might be also the home inspector, the mortgage broker, but you need to build a strong team. So you need to ally with other strong teams in your market. That's very important. You need to have a plan. We have talked about developing a plan, obviously a business plan, but here's the plan that some people, they never talk about, John. It's a contingency plan. What happens if the market doesn't stop suddenly? The market shows some signs, you know the data, but do you have a contingency in case of, there comes some tough time? I remember when I started 2001, right, September 11, then it came 2009, and then again the COVID. So, after the second time, I said, I always need to have a contingency plan. If you are the team leader and you get sick, could the business continue? What are those goals, but what is the contingency plan? Then number 8 is structure your organization. You need to have an organization where you can have a linear structure, a circular structure, a pyramid structure. So you need to know what kind of organization you are. And you need to recognize your leaders. So will you call them partners? Will you call them leaders? Who are the ones that are going to be in charge for the growth of your team? This is very important because if your team doesn't grow, it's going to die anyhow. It's like a plant, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then you need to have the system, structuring the system. There are systems. We have so many systems nowadays that sometimes we get confused. You got to choose at least one, right? and start to work with this one. I remember when I started, everything was in paper. Okay, I only have email, a Hotmail, and everything was in a paper. Then we grew on and we started to use QuickBooks. So we got everything over there, and then it came PayPal, and then it came. So now our classes are systemized. You got recording stuff. We didn't have that before. And actually, one of the systems that we started to use it, that's why we are writing history. I started to use Zoom 2 years before the pandemic. So I already had the classes, my hybrid classes, people live with people through Zoom. So when the pandemic came, that was a contingency plan that we said, wait, what happens if a hurricane comes? So we were credited to do Zoom way before the pandemic hit. So you need to have system in place. So your virtual office, how does it work? That's why we use the metaverse nowadays to teach also inside the structure. So number 10, your finances. Who's going to be the best CPA? Who's the guy that, I got 3 people that audit my company. I got my QuickBook lady, right? I got my accountant. I got somebody else that also do an audit and everything that we're doing and ask questions. Why did you spend on this one? What's going on this? Are we doing so much expenses? What are the fixed expenses? How is the payroll? Because I still run my team as a big corporation, period. It doesn't matter. So if you want to be big, if you want to grow, you gotta be used to be audited by outside sources. Some people that don't want to coach you, call it whoever you want, but you need to have somebody that is structure your finances. Number 11, the policies and procedure. You know what, John? One time, I remember that I went to one of my offices, and there was this computer that got, some information that not even an adult and a kid wants to see. So what are the policies that you have in place? Even some stuff like sexual harassment, but let's talk about the policies when your team grows globally. Do you have that one in place? What about the personnel? What about the awards? It's very sensitive nowadays, our society, about discrimination. One thing that I love about EXP, it's called One EXP, right? With all of us, we come together and we help each other grow internationally. In India, now we are opening Dubai and Chile, and so it's different cultures. So how we treating each other. So your business policy and procedure is very important to do it, and gotta be reviewed by the good lawyer. So marketing. Nowadays, everything is about marketing. So number 12. So how is your brand? We know we talk a lot about this, but are you more worried about your team brand than your own brand? You know what? Nowadays, I'm more worried about my team branding, because I will help my team if my team is big. So I'm more worried because someday I would die, and that's great. And maybe I leave a legacy or not, but my team is going to continue alive, taking that legacy. So are we still the old blockbuster video, or are we the not even Netflix, the new one with all these metaverses? So how you're going to advertise and set and talk about this? And the legality about the staffing. All of us, to grow a team, we need a personal staff. Sometimes we need a transaction coordinator. And we are creating wealth, and we are creating jobs also in the United States. We got to be very careful about this, because we need to help the economy. And this is a duty that every team has, is to grow with a staff that can grow some other people. The recruiting is number 14 out of the 18. So recruiting is very important. Every corporation recruits. I remember when I was alone, I every single month recruit. I remember some old coaches in real estate that I went to Chicago. I trained myself. I received recruiting coaching. Nowadays we can call it attraction, but let's call it partners. How I get the best partner worldwide, okay, to work together. And sometimes it starts with a joint venture, not even trying to recruit somebody. You like how they do it. They speak different languages. They are people that are connected thinkers, and you want to work together, man. It's like a relationship with your wife. I don't know if my wife recruited me or I recruited her. So, But
You got recruited though.
we can talk about this in another podcast, but then that's gonna be fun, So we can bring the wives and it's fun. But we've been 28 years together, John. So what about if you attract somebody nowadays and you build a strong relationship forever? I'm always concerned about this because you know what, John? Today, somebody sitting in one of my classes that could be the next president for the National Association of Realtors.
Right.
Could be the Glenn Stern, the Glenn Sanford, could be the next Grant Cardone. And today, I get a lot of 18, 19, and 20 years old, kids nowadays, which are adults with all this social media, that they are a big part of my team because they got the energy, they got the technology, I still gotta wake up every single day, go to the gym, all of that. They do it really fast. So selecting your staff and recruiting is very important. But then it comes a critical part, John, and we're finishing number 15. It's professional development. You gotta develop these guys. The education is key. The education, having a certification, going through a buyer and seller certification, right? Then educated themselves. Hey, John, I just teach a 2-3 week class. They pass an state exam, they become licensee. Nobody becomes Michael Jordan being trained for a month. It takes years. It's like a pregnancy, John. It takes 9 months for a kid, 7 or 9 months, right, to be born. Now, some people think that they got the real estate license and boom, or that you recruit somebody in your team and now they can go out and sell a property. No. You gotta go train them, be selective, and definitely it has to be every single day, like in the Navy or the Army. You gotta be prepared. And the last two is coaching performance. You need to become a coach yourself also at one point, because if you're dealing with clients, you are coaching them how to buy a house. If you are building a team, you're coaching all your people, and you gotta be coachable. It doesn't mean because you are the coach, you are not receiving. It's two ways. I receive a lot of coaching when I'm giving coach, right? When I'm the coach, so I'm pretty sure it happens to you also. We learn.
100%.
So
Every day.
So every day, and you evaluate yourself. And now I see some other coaches how they perform, and I got no problem sitting down with the best coaches in town, just learning. So you gotta coach and be coachable and accept critique. You need to have somebody, if I sit down with any of these team leaders, with them every single day to watch them and to see how they're doing, and not because you decided to open a team, you are the best team in town. You gotta accept critique and managing risk. Nowadays, everything is about the risk, and there is always risk in waking up, going outside of your comfort zone, right? Going to the gym, going to the street, but there is risk in everything. That if you don't take the risk, nothing is going to happen. Leadership takes responsibility. And we as a corporation and as a team leader, we have a financial responsibility nowadays. Some people tell me, Oscar, money doesn't buy happiness. Really? Tell me about it when we go to Italy, Milan, and have some nice wine and scotch over there with a good chunk of money, if that's not part of happiness. I understand. And you know what? When we help these big teams, 100, I grew up from 33 people in my team to 117, right, in 12 months. And it's because of these 18 points. Now, you take 3 of them, I'd be more than happy to share it with anybody, John. I send it to you, this information. I have done it with EXP, with great teams. And then you start with a coaching system to develop which are the ones that you are really bad and the ones that you are really good, and then build from it. So those are the 18 points that I use. This usually I teach it in a 30-hour setting. Sometimes I just put it really fast, and we analyze, and it takes time. Sometimes it takes 12 to 18 months to start to develop and take notes. And like any baseball player or NBA players, you gotta watch what happens. You made these many phone calls, you failed this many times, you took this many days of vacation. And you know what happens? Some people in real estate and team leaders, they want more vacation than working days. So it's impossible. A professional baseball player, I have the fortune to work with a professional baseball player buying properties in Miami, and have trained with them off season. And sometimes they train even harder than when they are on the field
Yes, they do.
training. It's huge, and I love to get educated all the time. I love to educate. And especially when you do this translation in different languages, then you figure out that the cultures sometimes are so different that everybody wants to win. So it's all about winning, and we gotta win, John.
Yeah, it's like you said. They're you look at the professional athletes are a great example. You look back in the 50s and 60s. You look back, at the beginning of kind of what's professional sports were here in the U.S. And you look at some of them old pictures of those guys, right? Just terrible shape, during the off season, and just lounging around, putting on all that weight. But then you look at these superhuman athletes today, like there are no days off. I mean, it's full tilt. They're always in season, right?
Yes.
It's just, are we playing the game, or, are we getting to that point? And, one of the mantras that I really love, and I don't know if it really is a Navy SEAL saying or just one of the armed force saying, is that, we don't rise to the occasion, we sink to the depth of our training. And, just for me, even competing, in endurance events, like over time, things get exposed, and, where you didn't put in the work is usually what gets exposed the most. And, you look at these 18 points and something's going to get exposed. And that's fine. What we reveal, we can heal. So when you look at these 18 points, Oscar, what do you see as that what people struggle with the most? What's kind of the top 2 points or top few points that people tend to struggle with the most?
They don't like to get a critique on their system. It's their ego gets in the way. John, I was one of those guys. I developed the institute, and God bless me to doing all of these in different languages. That then, I'm the big one. I'm the black belt. I'm not gonna join any other team, and I know everything. And when the market crashed in 2008 and 9, then I said, listen, man, I gotta join forces over here, because even though I can have all the data, that when the work comes and you need to ally with somebody, you got to get the ego out of the way. And people, they don't like to get critique. And basically, some of them, they don't like to be helped. They don't want to have a coach, because they are like ashamed of saying, listen, no, I'm receiving coaching. So they struggle with that, because they don't like to have an accountant and lawyer, and then whatever, opening a trust for your corporation. Because what happens if you have a team and you are growing and making all this amount of money? Are you ready when something happens? Do you have a catastrophe plan? You do have an exit. So you have an exit strategy, right? So maybe you're not selling your team, but is there a legacy? So people struggle on building the next generation also, John, the new blood. I'm more focused right now. I'm not worried about 2022 and 2023, 2024. To tell you the truth, I'm thinking 2030 and 2040. Okay, so I have a plan. Why? Because I'm in the future. Now you and me were talking over here, and came back from the future and then go back on the metaverse, like you said. What happens in 10, 20 years? We got a huge problem worldwide right now. We got a Ukraine and the war that's happening in Ukraine. And one of the problems is that I have a meeting 2 weeks ago, how much it's going to cost to rebuild that country. And what happens when the funds are needed to rebuild that country? Maybe you said, somebody's listening and said, listen, I'm just worrying about my local market. I got you. that big leaders are big thinkers. So people struggle on their ego and they don't want to be critiqued. And another thing, they don't want to do the unseen time job. Everybody wants to be in a podcast. Everybody wants to be in the stage, but they don't want to do the job that knowing the data, the market, go out sometimes even knocking doors, which could mean calling people, doing events. The unseen time is so important so you can perform at the highest level. It's those time at 10 p.m., 12, 2 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. when you wake up and you said, I got this idea, I gotta sit down, I'm gonna write to John or my coach or whoever it is, and we're gonna develop this idea. So John, you know that the idea is just like, everybody got a great idea. It's just like something that happens and came to you. But taking action is the whole game plan. It's going to be tough some days. They don't want to do the dirty job. Everybody is thinking that it's just like Facebook, everything is beautiful, and Instagram. It's not like that. You got to get into the game, you got to sweat, and it's important to do the job.
Mm. It is, right. And I forget where I heard this so many years ago. You want the silver bullet. The silver bullet's effort, and this just seems like so few people are willing to put in the effort that it takes to be, that level that they truly maybe believe they can aspire to, and truly anything's possible. And so it's just like you said, thinking big enough. And I think a lot of agents, they just don't think big enough. I remember Peter Senge talked about in the fifth discipline. He talked about what happens is that people tend to start out and they have this grand vision of what they want. So think about this with new agents, and you get to experience that. New agents coming in, they got this big, I'm gonna accomplish all of this stuff, and then they realize they're here. And once they start realizing the effort that it takes to go from here to here, sometimes, people can get there, but most of the time what happens is that they tend to just kind of settle and until their vision is exactly where they're at. And it's like, you need these things. You need to be able to have feedback loops, to be able to accept the criticism, to know that how am I trying to improve? And I think it comes back to the one thing that you said, that you have to be coachable. Explain that to everybody listening in, kind of your definition of what coachable is.
You gotta be humble. So basically, you need to be humble. You need to listen. Just listen. You need to be silent so you can hear. John, I'm a guy that I pray a lot, and sometimes you say, "Oh God, just talk to me." Listen, it could be your inner voice. Sometimes you get a coach, and he's telling you what to do. So sometimes be coachable it means that if it works for you and for 100 of the other team leaders, if I do the same thing, then I will get that result. It's just copy and paste. It's like when you go to the best chef in the world, they give you the recipe. Yes, the first time might not get exactly right. The second time. So coachable is to listen and do the job and repeat and repeat and repeat again. You might be very talented, but you need the discipline. You need the discipline to wake up every single day, do what your coach says, even though if you don't like it, but you just do it, and then you're gonna have these results. Listen to me. Just tell them, the guys, if you follow what I said and you write down what I said, that's gonna be on your exam. You take the real estate exam, you pass it. Now you're a real estate licensee. Now you need to be coachable, right? Or you need to have your license with a broker, and you do what they say. No, I'm gonna do it my own. Got it. 86% of all the agents leave the industry in the next 5 years because they want to do whatever they want to do. So if you want to do it that way, I'm very blessed to be a United States citizen. This country has taken me around my family, and I do what they say to get my citizenship. I studied my 100 question that was on the test, and then I'm U.S. citizen. So I'm a good citizen. So you want to be a good team leader? You want to be coachable? Just follow somebody, right? And just choose choose somebody that has the success also. Because John, nowadays everybody on the social media, I'm a coach, I'm this and that. It's okay, they could be, but you need to know the data. Know the
Mhm.
data. Hey, how many closings? How many? I mean, how is your revenue, and how many fails do you have? You can ask that one also. How many fails do you have? I have many fails, right? I have many transactions that fell through. I have situations with the IRS where they audited me, with an agent with the FBI, okay, and they have an investigation with the FBI agent. So then you become a good broker and a good team leader because you follow what needs to be done in any process.
Right.
So you don't resist. You just put it. It's like a lab. You put it to test, and if it worked for you, now use it. You need to listen, John. People, they don't want to listen. They just want to sit down and have, a 1 minute presentation and then be done and be rich. There's a good book also called Exit Rich, which talk about building your team and maybe selling it, right? So John, for me, I want to grow old rich because grandpa without money sucks. Grandpa with money, everybody
It's
loves
cool.
grandpa.
Everybody loves grandpa with money.
Hey, John, I'd rather be a grandpa with a good accent and money than be poor, you know?
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. Yeah, Exit Rich is fantastic. And for those of you listening in, it's definitely a must read. It's Sharon Lecter, and Sharon was responsible for bringing Rich Dad Poor Dad to life. She wrote and really ran the organization um, for all of that. And then she was also brought in by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to revive the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and she's the responsibility for bringing um, Outwitting the Devil to the surface. It was locked away. Napoleon Hill wrote that, and just fear of publishing that during that time, and he passed, and then his wife wouldn't allow it, and then the kids wouldn't allow it, and then so finally she was able to bring that to life. And she's an incredible human being. She was on 2 presidential for financial literacy. She is definitely one of she's a powerful human being that is worth spending some time to consume what she stands for and what she's about. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Exit Rich. That needs to be a must for everybody to go through as well.
Yeah, yeah. People need to read, John. It's all about the books. You could do Audible, you can read, but you need to read, and everything is on the books.
What would you say right now, knowing kind of where things are at? We're in that transition from the seller market, and we'll make our way over to a buyer market, which could take, who knows, 18, 24 months, who knows, but it's going to shift back. What do the leaders listening in need to be really consistently focused on educating their team with?
You need to listen what's happening to your members. If you are in the Navy, you meet with, if you are in the ship, in a warship, because I had that opportunity with my dad, every single day when you are in a crisis, in a war, or if you are at seas, every single team leader, because obviously you got team, you got your ship, and you got the chief commander in the ship, and you got the second one in command, and you got division. So you need to structure your organizations right now if you don't have any structures, and give names to each of these people and who is in charge of what, because we have so many distractions that you need to have divisions inside. In my team, I got 14 guys, right, that they are mentors, and we listen every single day to what's happening to our members, what's going on, which transaction fell through. So you need to every single day analyze, like in a worship, what's going on.
I love
Because
that.
if we do like, talking like if we are in a war, we cannot wait for a once a month sales meeting. What I would say is you can have between 30 minutes every single day, sales meeting very early in the morning, 7:30, 8 a.m., whatever you choose, and then discuss what happens the day before. Because at one point, something bad is going to happen. If
Mhm.
everything goes well, good. But something bad is going to happen that needs the rest of the team to know about it. So it's taking care of what's not working, and then seeing your local market how it's shifting. Like you said, it could take 18 months. It might happen already, maybe in your area. So as a team leader, you need to listen more and more. It's not the time to take big vacations because there is no days off. So it's the time, even if you are in vacation, you need to know what's going on. A good doctor knows what's happening with their patients. So if you do as open heart surgery, you go directly and see every single day through your staff. And you know what, John? This is an open heart surgery right now. Some people need to open their brain right now and do double of the work that they were doing. They think that the COVID is gone. No, it's not about the COVID. It's about your life. So you're gonna rest when you die. So enjoy the ride, work hard, and like Muhammad Ali says, I hate every minute of my training, but I'd rather live like a champion. And you know what? If you're listening to this and you are this far through the podcast, you are already a champion. You're looking for
Right.
some change, and I'm pretty sure some of you are leaders already, but take it to the next level. There is always somebody that is doing better than you, and your only goal is to protect your team at this point. Okay, you gotta protect, you gotta be a big protector, protect each other. It's like ready for impact. But when the impact comes, it's gonna be huge, beautiful, and wonderful, because it's all about the legacy. It's about the ride. It's not about getting there. It's about being there forever. And being a winner is being a winner every single day. And remember this, John, all of us, we got 24 hours. Some people decide in 24 hours to live like a poor, like what's, not strong mind, very weak mind. Some people decide like every single minute, enjoy. If their dads are alive, go and have a good lunch with them, with your family, with your team. Invite your team to have good lunch. If you're the team leader, bring your team together. Let's, cook food at your home. You know what in baseball happens, John? The manager, when the season starts, do a huge barbecue at his home. Okay, so invite people to your home. Oh, I'm not afraid. I'm not inviting my agents or my. Why? They need to know you, and you need to know them. So by the second, and it's all about the human being, what is inside, and then you grow and you make money and you protect when the time changes. So that's my recommendation. That's what I do, and you gotta live with passion inside, because it comes from inside. It could come from the outside.
I love that, and I think that's a perfect way to wrap this action packed episode of Export Mentors. And I can't thank you enough. Yeah, I mean what you're doing and pouring in, and that it's like, hey, everybody, you need to do this. And coach reminds me of that. Hey man, there's only a certain percentage that are gonna gravitate towards it, and so no matter what you do, you can fight it, whatever. You just put the information out there, and those that are hungry are gonna go get it. Those that are coachable, and man, I can't thank you enough. For folks tuning in that want to connect with you and dive a little bit deeper, what's the best way to reach you?
Oscar Morales Jr. directly on my Instagram. Or if you want the institute, you got over here. The Real Estate Institute is the Instagram directly. I respond to all my messages every single day. So Oscar Morales Jr. It's simple. Go over there, just Instagram me, and and LinkedIn is the same thing. Oscar Morales Jr. So more than happy to help your team, to have your team grow. And I'm over here through collaboration. I mean, it doesn't mean that you got to pay this amount of money and all of that. No, 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 no. let's work together. Let's build a better world. Let's contribute. There are many, many, many people that are not as blessed as you and me right now. So they have no water, no food. So we got the big opportunity. And this is a gift, John. Thank you again for the invitation, to all your
Absolutely,
team,
man.
to all the
Appreciate
honey
it.
badgers, everything that you guys are doing. And let's build a legacy worldwide, because we are one. It's only one. We're human beings, and we're here to grow. And the grace of God for me, it's a blessing. So God bless me so I can bless some others, period.
Love that. Oscar, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys.